Good morning,
Good morning.
everyone here and all our friends on Facebook. My name is Kelly. The theme for November 2021 is Breathe in the View. The topic for today is Seeing Beauty, Feeling Grace. New Thought author and minister Eric Butterworth shares this about grace. The word grace means favor. Why are you favored as a child of God? Simply because you are the activity of God expressing as you. 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 4 speaks of true beauty. Let your adornment be the inner self with the lasting beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit which is very precious in God's sight. Let us now claim this way of living for ourselves together. I appreciate the beauty and grace that dwell within all creation. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Reverend Kathleen.
Thank you so much, Kelly. That was beautiful. And I also want to acknowledge Sharon for the beautiful accompaniment of Peggy. It was mystical and magical. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. Wow. Just so much beauty going on today. I'm feeling way too far up here. I am going to move that back. Well, I'd like to start off with just a short story, and it's a story of a group of... How about that? Okay. There was a group of friends that got together post-COVID lockdown and met at a coffee shop for the first time. They were so excited to get together. And then they started noticing all their ailments from sitting so long and not doing anything. And so one of them said, "My arms have gotten so weak I can hardly lift this coffee cup." And the next one said, "You know what? Over this COVID time, I've gotten cataracts and I can hardly see the coffee cup." And the next one said, "My head can't even turn. I have this muscle spasm for looking at Zoom for so long." And then one woman cheerfully said, "Well, we need to remember to count our blessings. After all, we can still drive." So let us give thanks for the sacred pause that we get to take today in our busy lives. And breathe in the view, just breathing in the view. Appreciating life from a higher perspective. And I know that when we immerse ourselves in the spiritual community, it's like if we haven't been, we just shift ourselves right up into that higher perspective. And that means seeing the beauty and feeling the grace of the Spirit within ourselves and within all beings. So this is the thing that I noticed. I noticed that beauty and grace and gratitude are dance partners. Have you noticed that? They all kind of work together. I was noticing that when I see beauty, when I take a walk through nature and I see beauty, I see the beauty of the leaves. And all you have to do is look out the window tops around here and you can still see them. And then I notice that I can feel myself living in grace. Wow, look at this beauty. I am living in grace. And so then my heart cannot help itself but to dance forth in gratitude. They all go together so beautifully. They work together so beautifully. And why? Because they are the very divine nature within us. So let's explore each one of these qualities of the Most High that dwell within all of us. And I'm going to start with gratitude. Gratitude has this amazing ability to expand consciousness in order to receive more of whatever we're focusing on. Have you noticed that? I mean, I've noticed it. I've been noticing it for quite a few years. And gratitude, therefore, is truly a portal for grace. And I'm going to be talking more about what grace is from my perspective and from the perspective of science of mind and new thought. And so, like all spiritual practices, gratitude is also a spiritual practice. And it is the antidote for discontent. If you find yourself feeling discontented with your life, gratitude is a beautiful antidote for that. It's an antidote, and discontent comes from focusing on what's wrong or what's missing, right? That's where it comes from. So gratitude helps us to see the good that is there. And it also, therefore, relieves stress, increases well-being, opens and softens the heart to love, right? And therefore we feel a greater connection with all of those around us, with the divine within, with our beautiful and sacred world and universe. So that's gratitude. And that's just the beginning. So beauty. You know, the beauty that I'm talking about today is not the one that where people have certain standards, cultural standards of beauty, external beauty, what that is. I'm not talking about that, and I'm not talking about comparison because of the uniqueness that each of us has and the unique beauty that's in each one of us. What I'm talking about is true beauty that dwells within and that shines and radiates outward. It's a state of being. It's a quality of God. It is therefore omnipresent and omniactive. Omnipresent and omniactive. So each of us is true beauty, the beauty of the divine, uniquely expressed. And it shows up in many ways, and here are some of them. It shows up as caring for another. It shows up as various talents and abilities. It shows up as loving kindness, enthusiasm, joy, all of those things that demonstrate the light, the divinity within us. And so we have an opportunity, my friends. We have an opportunity to see, to acknowledge, to express, to enjoy beauty in our daily lives, not just as something that we do every once in a while, but as something that is a regular awareness. Regular awareness. And since we are each true beauty, uniquely expressed, let's affirm that together. So repeat after me. I am beautiful. I am willing to reveal God's beauty as me. All right, you feel that? All right, and that goes for the men too. Men have beauty just as much as women do. Okay, so when you behold beauty in nature and in another person, guess what? You are recognizing the beauty of God in yourself that you are projecting outward. Interesting, huh? Because we're all one. And so recognizing the beauty in another, recognizing in a beauty in nature awakens us to the divine within. I love how all this works together. There's a psychotherapist and philosopher. His name is Piero Ferrucci. Any of you read any of his books before? He has really beautiful books. He says that everyday beauty is as necessary as breath and food. That's a very powerful statement to make. So without an appreciation of beauty, he says, darkness emerges in the soul, which contributes to despair and a tendency to inflict suffering on others, a tendency to engage in crime, a tendency to despair. So the antidote then for that is to open our eyes to beauty. So he says, when we do that, we see anew, we light up, we are the light of the world. We begin to appreciate our own uniqueness and the uniqueness of others. People who deliberately focus on everyday beauty develop a more intense love of life. I can list all these are so cool. A more intense love of life, a richer inner world, more vitality, a greater ease in relationship with others, a stronger identity and self-esteem, greater competence in making choices, a deeper understanding of existence. That's a lot of good stuff. And so this reminded me of a story that was in Marcia Sinitar's book called Elegant Choices that we use in our practitioner training. And Marcia was once an elementary teacher, an elementary school teacher in the inner city. And what she did was she knew the power of beauty. And so she put beautiful artwork on the walls of her classroom. She played beautiful music, soothing music while the children were working. And she brought in fresh flowers every day to her classroom. And people were always wondering, what is it about this teacher that she's able to have these kids not only settle down and sit in their seats, but also excel at their grades. And she knew the secret. It was offering them, exposing them to beauty. Isn't that a beautiful story? Powerful. So intentional exposure to beauty, and boy, with our aesthetics team, Lisa, actually at this point in time, it's Lisa Bartolozzi and those who assist her. Because of the beauty that is surrounding us, and Sally's artwork, the way the tables are decorated, everything's done very thoughtfully and intentionally. Because of that beauty that we have within us, we are intentionally exposing ourselves to beauty, and it is a divine practice. Beauty is a spiritual practice. There's a Chinese proverb that goes like this. It says, if there is light in the soul, then there is beauty in the person. If there is beauty in the person, then there is harmony in the house. If there is harmony in the house, there is order in the nation. If there is order in the nation, then there is peace on earth. So, exposure to beauty, looking intentionally for the beauty, is so powerful. So, as a spiritual practice, then, it's about intentionally shifting our attention from making judgments and comparisons and buying into cultural standards of beauty. And it means rather than looking with the physical eye that is conditioned by the mind, the way looking through our eyes that way, it is moving within. And our spiritual practice, our meditation, our prayer helps us to see with the divine eye, the capital I. So now we are seeing from a different perspective. And a great example that I would like to give of that is tree. Let's talk about the way we look at trees. When you look at a tree, and if you're doing it from the conditioned mind, there might be, there are spots on those leaves. There are some broken branches. and those kinds of things, like, and when you walk through the woods, oh, there's a fallen tree, and so the focus is all on judging that things are not perfect. That's the conditioned mind. That's what it does. Instead, it's a shift. It's a focus. It's almost like stepping back and looking at the whole of the tree, looking at the whole of the forest, and the beauty of it, and understanding that those fallen leaves become fertilizer for the ground, and that the entire tree has this beautiful glory in which it stands, and the fallen trees are feeding the insects, and the insects are feeding the woodpeckers, and even homes for the animals. So this shift is so powerful. It uplifts us, it heals us, it transforms our consciousness. The Tao has a beautiful way of addressing this. In the Tao encourages us to slow down. Watch, and this is just an example. Watch the water that has been stirred by the storms of the conditioned mind. Wait for the mud to settle. All of those negative thoughts to settle, so that what is yours to fully see can become clear and rise to the surface. The clear mind that sees the beauty. So the graced eye is able to glimpse beauty everywhere. So let's move on to grace. Other words for grace in other spiritual traditions. Well, in ours, another word for grace is good, with a capital G. But also prana, chi, life force, divine energy. All of these are interchangeable with grace. And so we are surrounded by grace. We are immersed in grace. Does everybody get that? We are surrounded. So it's like, yes, we are all actually in the flow of grace. It's just a matter of waking up to it. And Ernest Holmes says, how much grace or how much good can you possibly have? All of it. Because we are spiritual beings. We are immersed in the allness of the divine as grace. So grace is ours, given automatically. So grace is not something that you have to work for or cultivate. You don't have to earn it. It is who we are. That might be a big shift for some of you. So grace is divine love freely given to all, infinite good freely given to all possibility given to all. So you might be thinking, so if grace is freely given to all, then how come I am not experiencing grace all the time? And Ramakrishna, the great Indian mystic and yogi, put it this way. He says, the winds of grace are blowing all the time. All we have to do is raise our sails. Isn't that awesome? Raise our sails. I'm going to say it again. The winds of grace are blowing all the time. All we have to do is raise our sails. Everybody raise your sails. Yeah. Beautiful. So I'd like to illustrate that. Carolyn Mace, a medical intuitive and workshop presenter and speaker, has talked for many years about the medical cause of ailments, the mental cause of ailments. And so she has a phrase that goes like this: your biography determines your biology. Your biography, your story, what you believe, it determines your physiology, your biology. Then after studying about Teresa of Avila, she decided to experiment with a workshop group of 800 people. She wanted to actually have them experience the healing power of grace. And she used the word graces for the various qualities of God. She called each one of them graces. Isn't that beautiful? And so she then took them on a journey, an inner journey, and helped them through these experiences of the divine graces, the qualities of God, experience mystical divine union. And something really powerful happened, which would not surprise us if we've been involved in this teaching for very long. Physical healings took place. Mental healings, shifts in people. So she began to realize that this affirmative, because she was making statements of truth, that this form of affirmative prayer was really powerful and really effective. Psalms 45, verse 2 goes like this: Grace is poured upon your lips. Therefore, God has blessed you forever. When I read that, I went, wow, there it is. Poured upon our lips. We use our lips to speak our word, yes? This power of speaking our word. And so in January, I'm really excited about this, and I'd love to see as many of you involved in this as possible. And don't let financial means get in the way, because we do have scholarships available. But in January, you'll have an opportunity to raise your sails to the winds of grace through a new class. It's new for our center. It's still fairly new for all CSL, but it's called The Art and the Science of Spiritual Mind Treatment. And my colleagues who have taught this class said that it helps even brand new students master this form of art and science, this form of prayer that we offer, and have really powerful results, which is no surprise to me, but it's a beautifully designed curriculum to teach the very principles of spiritual mind treatment, affirmative prayer. That's the one that is used by our practitioners and many of the members of our community. And it attunes us automatically to that healing power of grace, because it starts with the bringing into our awareness the allness, the fullness, the magnificence, the all-inclusiveness of God that is right here where we are as our very own being, divine union. It supports that, and then we speak our word from that place of very high awareness. And so what seems to many of us as miracles take place. And I know there are many who have experienced that. Raise your hand if you've experienced things from spiritual mind treatment that have just blown your mind. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so I'd like to conclude just by saying seeing grace and seeing beauty is seeing God. It's seeing God. It transforms us, it heals us, it uplifts us, it sets us free. Beholding beauty with our inner eye and feeling grateful for it opens the portal to the flow of grace. So using the power of our word in spiritual mind treatment is a powerful way to attune to grace and to experience heaven on earth in our lives. And so, my friends, I'd like to end with saying, I see the beauty in you. I feel the grace in you. I feel the power in you. And so it is.
So it is.
Good morning. Was that graceful? I'm not sure. Yes, there's grace everywhere, so that was graceful. Unique grace. Dan, at your convenience.